Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Prime Time Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Morinzi. We begin with our top stories. Cameroon President Paul Biya and wife are in Paris for a new global financial pact with France. The summit on the new global financial pact will hold from June 22 to 23, 2023, and experts have expressed the need for concerted efforts in ensuring good governance within developing and vulnerable countries as a new approach to financing by development. Experts say is expected to change the narrative. And religious leaders have condemned homosexuality, describing it as devilish and against societal values. The Catholic Church maintains its stand they will not promote and condone same-sex relationships. They have saluted government for banning the conference with a hidden agenda of promoting homosexuality in Cameroon. And Barrister Michel Ontoki and Barrister Tamfo Richard have told Maurice Kamto that he cannot fight democracy and a better Cameroon while practicing anti-democratic approaches. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Cameroon's President Paul Biya and wife are in Paris for a new global financial pact with France. The summit on the new global financial pact will hold from June 22 to 23, 2023. They were welcomed in Paris by dozens of Cameroonians, including the Cameroonian ambassador to France. More on the story with our reporter, Saleh Sharifa.
President Paul Biya and First Lady Chantal Biya arrived in Paris June 20, a day ahead of the start of the summit for a new global financial pact built for the French capital. On the arrival at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, the Cameroonian head of state and his wife were welcomed by the Cameroonian ambassador to France, André Magnus Ekumu, as well as dozens of members of the Cameroonian community who cheered the presidential couple as they left the airport. Paul and Chantal Biya have taken up residence at the Four Seasons George V Hotel at the heart of Paris. The summit on the new global financial pact will hold from this June 22 to 23, 2023.
With 7 years to go, the world to achieve Gender 2030 countries of the global North and South are more committed to build a new contract, facilitate access to vulnerable countries, to facilitate needs to address ongoing and future crises as the meets in Paris. Cajun Henry Atembe looks at the context of the Paris summit. His story.
The Paris Summit for Global Financial Pact, also known as Summit for the Poorest Countries in the World, is holding within the context of rising inequalities between countries of the Global South and the Global North. With developing countries experiencing strangulating economic hardship, the Paris Summit hopes to advocate for reforms in the global financial system. With the United Nations playing a primordial role, Antonio Guterres has lashed out, saying the Global Financial Pact, which manages $300 trillion in financial assets, is simply not fit for the purpose. Africa's debt currently stands at $9 trillion. This money was borrowed to handle crucial development issues. Unfortunately, developing countries are still weeping in poverty. Prior to the summit, French Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs, Catherine Colonna, had declared in January 2023 that the summit will build a new contract between the North and the South in order to facilitate access of vulnerable countries to the financial need to address ongoing and future crises. With 7 years to go for the world to achieve Agenda 2030, countries of the Global South are embedded in many crises, wars, diseases, displacements, poverty and hunger, rising inequalities, disasters, violent extremism, desertification, drought and more. This is the world and this is Africa today.
And experts have expressed the need for concerted efforts in ensuring good governance to change the narratives. They were talking in regards to the expectations from the Paris summit on the new global financing pact that kicked off today in Paris. More on that story with our reporter Gladys Ambudiba.
After several challenges that the world economy has faced for the past couple of years, development stakeholders have seen the necessity to strengthen financing for least developed countries and those most vulnerable to climate change. The ongoing Paris Summit on the new Global Financing Pact is therefore a step towards seeking solutions to the challenges.
So that a lot of countries are over-indebting, but those finances are not going directed towards this goal. So the main thing about this summit is that they will have to redefine conditions which are level conditions, homogeneous conditions, whether you are from the north or south. That's a good thing. Make conditions of financing which will be directed towards these three challenges that the planet faces. I mean, protection of biodiversity, climate change, and inequality.
Well, the ongoing Paris Summit is very important in redefining the global financial architecture. Our global economy has faced a lot of challenges during the past years. For example, we have seen the rapid deteriorations of the environment, the effects of climate change on many countries. We have seen that COVID-19 pandemic had a lot of consequences on the development of many economies.
Mobilizing innovative financing, according to experts, is not enough, as good governance remains capital.
So we'll be expecting to see what are going to be the controls that will be put on the ground in order to compel these third world countries that are rocked by corruption to actually direct the funds to where these three areas where we've just mentioned.
Those countries like Cameroon and the Central African countries stand a good chance to provide a sustainability and a climate mitigation strategy, meaning that with the Congo Basin forest, it's very important that the other countries, the developed nations, help in providing the financial resources for these countries to be able to mitigate water resources.
The summit for a new global financing model in November 2023 during COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh and during the G20 summit are also expected to strengthen partnerships between countries and international financial institutions in order to develop the financial systems.
And religious leaders have condemned homosexuality, describing it as devilish and against societal values. The Catholic Church maintains instead they will not promote or condone a same-sex relationship. The same stand by other churches like the Evangelical Protestant churches in Cameroon. They have all called on Cameroonians to remain vigilant. More in the following story.
The Catholic Church has reiterated its stance against homosexuality.
The Roman Catholic Church keeps the laws of God in the world. And in the book of Leviticus, he condemned homosexuality. Even beasts, animals can never do that. How come human beings?
In Genesis chapter 18, I think you have heard about the Sodom and Gomorrah. Yes. That God destroyed because of homosexuality.
Father Christopher Nge, just like other men of God, have described homosexuality as an evil that must be condemned and rooted in all facets of society. In their sermons in churches, they constantly call on Christians to reject such demonic practice condemned by the Bible.
It is very, very dangerous if we Christians do not stand up against that. Christians should be able to refrain from that because I know this kind of phenomenon, some Christians are in it, and we should be careful because that is a serious offense against God.
The religious leaders salute the stance of the state and insist
Government should completely crack down on homosexuality, which is destructive to our youth. The education of children, he says, should begin in schools, especially at the elementary stage.
We celebrate the fact that the Cameroon did not allow this man of LGBT to come to Cameroon. He has nothing to do in our nation. We want to protect the younger one. Are you getting me? We want to protect them from doing that. Everybody should be able to fear God, because it's a fear of God that is going to save our nation.
The men of God say they are ready to lead a march in Cameroon, just like Christian Cardinal Tumi did some years back, a way of recalling to Africans their roots and strong moral values.
Close to 1550 health structures or clinics operating on clandestine basis have been shut down in the Douala 5 Council area. Some of them operate from their homes. The divisional officer of Douala 5 weigh in these structures and closely examine them before shutting them down. More in the following story.
These are some of the health facilities run by private promoters, both accused of illegal practices. Inside, the technical platform is obsolete, hospital beds dilapidated, toilets nauseating, tight and unconducive environments susceptible of rather aggravating the situation of the patients in search of solutions. Such clandestine clinics keep increasing by the day. We are in the Douala 5 Council. Of the 50 clandestine health establishments identified in the municipality, 15 have been shut down. The divisional officer for Douala 5 has clamped down on such illegal structures.
The objective today was to close down health centers that function in illegality. People get up, transform their bedrooms into health centers, administer expired drugs, expired injections. This is what kills the population. You cannot, on your own, create your health center. You don't respect any norms, and you expect us, administrative authorities charged with protecting lives, to accompany and clap for you.
This is a private residence transformed into a clandestine clinic. The owner claims to be a trained nurse, but prefers to operate the clinic from her home. In the neighborhoods, they are popularly called doctor, an appellation they confidently embrace. The doors gamble with the health of locals, putting their lives in perpetual danger. When asked to brandish documents of their establishments, they remain mute, not even the most elementary documents, the national ID cards, to show for. The two persons behind the clandestine structure have been picked up for further questioning.
To tell all promoters of such illegal institutions to close them down immediately and change activity, because we will continue to fish them out until there is total order in this domain. We have a number of young girls who commit abortion every day. I'm not sure that this is done in legal hospitals. They are in places like this. And I think that it is time for us to tell Cameroonians to shun these kind of places.
According to the divisional officer of Douala 5, the state cannot promote security of citizens when there is such anarchy, sending the people to early death. The war on charlatan health structures in Douala 5 has just begun.
Barrister Michelle Ndoki and Barrister Tamfu Richard have told Professor Maurice Kamso that he cannot fight democracy and cannot fight for democracy and a better Cameroon while practicing anti-democratic approaches. The two were talking to pressmen today in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, on the recent treatment by the party top officials simply because they expressed their opinions. More on the story with our reporter, Haisencha.
It is a bad weather within the Cameroon Renaissance movement, with power tussle on the rise. Having summoned the gods on June 5th, 2022, to declare her candidature for the post of the president during the next party convention in November 2023. Barrister Michelle Ndoki has been termed a blackleg.
We are telling the current regime, the ruling party, that they should lead by example. Yet we are shy about leading by example in our political party. I'm here to say that because I dared to say that I was running for presidency, I have been harassed in any despicable manner. And that it's not only me. Now, they are asking that I be expelled from the party because of that and only because of that.
Before the press, this June 22nd in Yaoundé, the Vice President of the CRM Women's Wing, together with Barrister Tamfo Richard, who was equally 2 weeks ago sent out of the directorate meeting by Maurice Kamto for questioning his age and openly declaring support for Michelle Ndoki, underlined that the individual traits cannot stop them from trying to build an exemplary political party.
Why would somebody be allowed to tell me whether or not I have a place in a political party without telling me which provision of the statutes and regulations are violated? This is about building the nation that we deserve. And I will continue to do just that. And since we are promoting, when it comes to other parties, diversity, inclusion, openness, I will just plead that we walk the talk and start opening our hands, opening our hearts, opening our minds to others' views.
The legal minds lament that it is regrettable that militants with different opinions from those of the president are considered enemies of the party. These they describe as anti-democratic beliefs.
In prelude to a festival intended to combat growing hate speech, xenophobia, and tribalism, a group of young Cameroonians organized a press briefing this Thursday in the Cameroon's economic city via goal, preached the need for genuine solidarity as the sure way forward. Saleh Sharifa was part of that press briefing. Her story.
Meeting earlier this June 22 in front of the pressmen and women, the organizers of the planned anti-tribalism, anti-xenophobia and anti-hate speech festival unveiled their intentions.
We want everybody to feel Cameroonian before feeling being from other tribes. Then we also want through this event to create for our enterprises an occasion to make themselves known to each other and to create business cases. So
the announced festival will provide a platform for the promotion of social cohesion and genuine cohabitation amongst Cameroonians from all corners of the National Triangle.
We are waiting also businessmen and head CEOs to this event to show, like I said, to show the beauty of our culture and to promote a message of acceptance and tolerance between us Cameroonians.
Several people are expected at this adventure, which will be its first edition. This evening of intercultural meeting and exchange will take place from June 30 to July 2nd, 2023 in Douala.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast, the English language and Canal, the International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is the brief with Lil Pujol. As I'm be back, same time tomorrow. Good night.